What's up YouTube, this is Scott Seuss and we are back with another video. And today we're going to talk about how to start a homestead, a beginner's guide, if you will. So you don't really need a farm to get started with homesteading. Anything you can do to develop a more self-sufficient lifestyle, cutting costs, live closer to nature, will begin moving you in the right direction. You start growing your own food, learn to sew, preserve food, and pick up other valuable skills that you don't pay money for. Basically, I'm going to explain what homesteading is and why you should start homesteading. So basically, homesteading, it basically means different things to different people, but in a broad sense, homesteading is about living a self-sufficient lifestyle, which is what I have done for myself. Luckily, I've been able to accomplish it, and my homestead is doing well. Thank you for asking. But for most people, the main aspects of homesteading are owning their land and building, and the buildings on it, and doing a small-scale farming operation with the goal of being self-sufficient or at least limiting their reliance on outside sources. Because when you're being self-sufficient, you don't want to use outside sources that's going to take away from the ability to do what you want to do without, forking out more money, basically. Homesteading typically applies for farms, but it's also possible to be, an urban homesteader in the city, by practicing sustainable living techniques, urban agriculture, and a frugal lifestyle. Will put you all in the right direction for a homestead. Now, the advantage to homesteading outside of, the urban areas is you can actually get a huge tax exemption up to $50,000 a year for homesteading, which is what I also get, which is super nice. So anyway, some people believe that homesteading is more defined by lifestyle choices you make rather than where you live in the country or the city, an urban area, rural area, whatever. Doesn't matter. Anyways, homesteading is differentiated by it's differentiated from living in a community or a village because of its isolation, both I'm not even say it. Anyways, homesteaders tend to live a more independent life, which is what I think a lot of y'all want. I see a lot of YouTube videos about, living off grid, RVing full time, and let's downsize our stuff and go buy a tiny home. Those are options if you can do those things. But particularly true for homesteaders who choose not to have a job and get all their income needed for taxes and other expenses from the work done on their land is a key thing. You can make a ton of money as a homesteader. You don't have to have a job. You can stay home, take care of your chickens, take care of your ducks. Ducks make great eggs. Ducks make better eggs and they're cleaner than chickens. You can grow microgreens, you can grow garden crops. If you live somewhere where there's the main road, you can just sell the stuff right out of your driveway. You can vegetables, livestock, and being completely off grid is a huge appeal to a lot of homesteaders, which is why a lot of people in the urban areas in the cities think that you can't be a homesteader. But here's the key thing: imagine never having to pay another gas or electricity bill again. In a lot of cases, companies will even pay you for excess electricity that you generate with your solar panels. However, we were going to get solar panels. We're kind of going back and forth with it because I'm not interested in propane. And you have a diesel option, you have a gas option. But if there's a grid down situation, you're not going to be able to buy gas. You're not going to buy diesel. You're going to have propane. You're going to be SOL. I don't mind the idea of batteries. Batteries are $4,000 a piece. We got quoted for, and I was going to do a DIY. They would provide me with all the parts, and then we may still do it, but I'll do a DIY solar system myself, and they're gonna cut down $19,000 off a total bill, But basically, the solar panels we got quoted for was 28 solar panels, 4 batteries, and 70K, which we may still end up doing because if we sell our house, it'd be nice for future reference to sell it. Anyways, moving away from your typical modern lifestyle to being a homesteader is often a gradual process. You don't have to sell everything to move to the country all at once. You can do it one step at a time. A lot of you people out there have a romantic and idealized dream of what homesteading would be like, but let me tell you, if you're not prepared and if you don't know what you're doing, it's not like your romantic dreams. It's a little bit of work. Not too difficult, but a little bit of work. You should really stop and think about what the day-to-day activities and chores would be like if you decide to become a homesteader. A lot of people don't realize when you own a farm how much work the farmer has to do. A lot of people don't realize if you own livestock how much work livestock is. Hell, just planting a numerous amount of flowers in front of my house and fruit trees in my side yard and potatoes and pumpkins and corn, and then I got lemon trees on this side, I got grapefruit trees on this side, lime trees on this side, and then I got planter boxes going in my dog pen and cucumbers, grapefruit, cantaloupe, and watermelon. It takes me roughly 2 hours to water all that stuff. Every other day, 2 hours I spent watering that stuff. So when it rains, it's nice. Taking care of your crops and your livestock in particular are very time consuming and physically demanding tasks, and not everyone's cut out to do it. Luckily for me, I am. If you have a spouse or a partner, you may also be able to make sure that they're 100% on board, because even though your wife or your husband says that they're on board for it, it doesn't mean they really are. They think they are, but you're not ready for it, boo-boo. Homesteading is a kind of life that both of you are looking for. You'll need to sit down and have an honest and open discussion about what you're looking for. If your partner hates the idea of getting their hands dirty, then the homestead lifestyle will be very difficult for you. And then your taskmaster is going to be getting in the dirt, be out there, shoveling pig shit or whatever. So then you just spend hours and hours learning everything you can about homesteading before you decide to make a commitment. Because once you make a commitment, you're leaving what you have behind and you're starting a whole new life, basically. Don't make any major homesteading decisions without having all the facts and knowledge needed. You can watch documentaries, you can read books, you can fully immerse yourself in the homestead mindset. And matter of fact, YouTube has endless videos like this one I'm making now in regards to homesteading. If you got friends or family who have already started a homestead of their own, see if you can spend a few days out there helping them and see what kind of lifestyle it is and see if it's you enjoy it. And if it's something that you feel like it's for you, then go for it. You need to when you start your homestead, you need to think about income. You need to set goals for yourself. You need to devote yourself in taking care of a full-time farm isn't for you. That's totally okay. If you're being a full-time vegetable seller, grower, it's okay if you don't want to do it. You can still practice homesteading and have a substantial lifestyle without selling everything and moving to the country. Even in an urban setting, you can start a vegetable garden, on your windowsill. You can get a few backyard chickens if you can, and you can begin preserving your own food. You just need to sit down and figure out exactly what your goals are. Do you want to reduce your carbon footprint by a specific percentage? Do you want to live off-grid, partially off-grid, completely off-grid? Do you want to raise livestock or have fruit trees or have other things that require more land? Once you know what you want, you'll better know the steps you need to take to get there. It's a process. It's not like for me, it was just today we're here, tomorrow we're homesteading. Then you need to decide where you want to live. That's another key factor. You need to decide what kind of property size you'll need. If you want to have a full-time or part-time job and still do homesteading as just a hobby, or do you want to make it your full-time job? Do you want to live in an urban, or you want to live in a semi-rural environment? There's a lot of that factors that go involved with it. If you plan on making your homesteading a full-time job or lifestyle, you need enough room to grow all the vegetables and fruits you need. You'll need space for cows if you want cows, space for sheep if you want sheep, or any livestock you want. You'll need to know how much land you need. You also want to set parameters on the general area you want to live in also, if a house is not already on the property. Are you okay with living in an ultra remote area, or do you just want to be just outside town? Because if you live in an ultra remote area, I'm going to tell you, you can't get Wi-Fi. A lot of places in America still you can't get Wi-Fi. My property, for the first 3 months we lived here, we had no Wi-Fi. We tried several hotspots and they worked for our phones, but they wouldn't work for Netflix, for YouTube, none of that stuff. So make sure that you can live without Wi-Fi, because you will for a while. Fortunately, we managed to get internet, so here we are. Here I am. Make sure that the land you look at will actually work for the type of homestead you're trying to accomplish also, because you can buy just random land, doesn't mean it's going to work well for you. If you're going to primarily grow crops, then sandy, rocky soil will make things more difficult, for example. And don't forget to factor time to travel. If you want to drive 1.5 hours, every time you pick something from the grocery store, it's going to be an issue. If you got to drive 2 hours every time you go to the gas station, or 45 minutes every time you go to work to your part-time job, that's going to factor into your bank account. That's going to factor into your daily routine. Okay, so what if you have an emergency? How long will it take for ambulance to get there? Will it take an hour for the police to get there? For the ambulance to get there in case of emergency? Some things to factor into. Even like taking a walk to your mailbox, how far do you want to walk to your mailbox every single day? And then the better question is, for women and for kids, how far do you want to walk to your mailbox in the dark? How far do you want to walk to take your trash out to the road so the trash company come pick it up? Those are all things to worry about. Anyways, you need to avoid the temptation of biting off more than you can chew. You don't need 100 acres. You don't need 10 acres. You don't need 5 acres unless you just want to. Usually a single family, 2 to 5 acres, is often more than they need, more than enough space to provide anything they need. Anything bigger than that, you're going to find is troubling to maintain. You can own the land, but don't try to homestead on the land. Just do what you need to do in a small area. Then as you grow a depth to that little small area, then you can, stretch it out. Do you think about water access? Do you have lakes nearby, rivers, ponds? Where can you get your water at? Can you run water from the lake next door underground through a pipe to your garden system? Can you walk on your land safely? You don't want to be somewhere that's prone to drought. If you try and grow food and stuff, and you got to worry about other potential health hazards like, wastewater, nuclear plants, etc. Then you think about the community. Sometimes community, you're a part of it just as important as your homestead itself, because you're going to you can possibly meet people. This guy might have chickens he doesn't want. He brings the chickens to you. Bam, you got free chickens. This farmer might be throwing away a bunch of this excess food. You might say, you might want it. And then you got to think about if you have kids. How close is the school? And do you want to homeschool them? Then what you need to do basically is make a budget. Having a thorough, thought-out budget is critical to homesteading, particularly if you're planning to give up your steady job to become more self-sufficient. If you're going to buy land or property, it's important not to use up all your savings. Otherwise, you won't have any money left over for renovations, improvements, equipment, and other things like that. As a general rule, you should expect any changes or improvements to your property will cost you 50% more than what you expect and could take twice as long. And these days, like for Florida, for example, you need to have a contractor to come do your work for you. If you're going to give up your job for more self-sustained lifestyle, you're going to need to think about some ideas to generate income for you.